Among these 10 investigators, there are some who are known for their extreme cruelty. There is also a judge who, in spite of having seen the physical injuries suffered by these prisoners as a result of the torture they were exposed to, still chose to conspire with these investigators in ascertaining that these prisoners were not forced to make self-confessions under duress. The names of these 10 investigators and the notorious judge who conspired with them and worked hand in glove with them would be mentioned at the end of this report. 12th Defendant Colonel Fantayan Mohaba Mufti ethnic Amhara. This prisoner was abducted on April 23, 2009 from the Western Military Command camp based in a place located in the Shire region of Tigray in northern Ethiopia. At the time of his abduction, he was conducting his job and was called by the Tigrayan Colonel Desalegn, otherwise known Kibrit, to the administration office or bureau. After he voluntarily presented himself at the office, he was given a hands-up order. On April 29, 2009 he arrived at the Central Investigation Office in Addis Ababa, to which he was brought. On his arrival at this office, unlike other prisoners, no visible physical signs of injury were noticeable on his face. The only things noticeable on his face were his exhaustion in consequence of the long journey he undertook and the anxiety which his face betrayed or radiated. The torture and beating of this defendant began after he appeared at the court located at the Arata Georges area and denied the false charges leveled against him on May 1, 2009. On this date and night around 10 p.m. local time, he was dragged to the investigation room like a sheep after he has been blindfolded and handcuffed. On this date, many more investigators, 5 investigators in all, were assigned for the task of investigating this officer who is considered by the investigators as being an arrogant person. The investigators have been instructed to reduce this arrogant officer to as small as human size by beating the hell out of him. Beating being the only language, which according to the investigators, this arrogant defendant properly understands. This instruction was given by Tais Messeret, the head of the investigation at the Central Investigation Office CIO. Tais Messeret is a notoriously cruel and ethnicist Tigrayan official. During the many nights he stayed in this prison and when most of the prisoners were sleeping, Colonel Fantayan has been exposed to tortures which no human being on this earth can withstand. As the injuries sustained by this defendant were so severe, he was being repeatedly exposed to torture after intermittently giving him treatment in the prison. Finally he signed, like all the other prisoners who were exposed to severe torture in this prison, albeit under duress, the statement which his investigators wanted him to undersign. After signing the alleged self-confession, his physical torture stopped. 22nd Defendant Mrs. Emayesh Alamu ethnic Amhara. As if the investigators assigned at the Central Investigation Office CIO have no mother or sister, what happened to this mother of 3 children and grandmother of 1 child, is extremely horrendous or gruesome. As with other prisoners, the Mrs. Emayesh has been exposed to torture and suffering during the night hours. As was the case with the other prisoners, she was led to the torture room blindfolded and handcuffed. She was hanged upside down and exposed to falanga beating of her inner feet. Her legs, hands, thighs and buttock were subjected to a grueling torture and beating in such a cruel manner that defy any explanation or cannot be